Okay, hey everybody. Good day to you. Welcome to this family Bible study. Pardon me swatting at this fly. It's getting in my way, bothering me. Um, Welcome to the family Bible study. Um, if you remember last time in chapter 35 of the book of Genesis, um, we had the death of Rachel in bringing forth or giving birth to the 12th patriarch, that being Benjamin. And then at the end of chapter 35, we had the death of Isaac. And so we're going to be picking it up in chapter 36 today. We're going to go kind of quickly through chapter 36 because all it is going to be the generations of Esau. And then we're just going to continue directly into chapter 37. So we'll cover 2 chapters today. All right, God, I pray the open eyes, open ears this day. Bring your children out of confusion, Father. A word of wisdom from our Father in Yeshua's precious name. The book of Genesis, chapter 36, verse 1, and it reads, Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Verse 2, Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan, and those daughters of Canaan being the descendants of the Nephilim, or the fallen angels. Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Ahalabamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon the Hivite. Verse 3. And Bashemath, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nebajoth. Verse 4. And Adah bare to Esau Eliphaz, and Bashemath bare Ruel. Verse 5. And Aholabamah bare Jeush, and Jaalam. Pardon me for butchering these names, but I'm doing the best I can. And Korah. These are the sons of Esau, which were born unto him in the land of Canaan. Verse 6. And Esau took his wives, and his sons, and his daughters, and all the persons of his house, and his cattle, and his beasts, and all his substance which he had got in the land of Canaan, and went into the country from the face of his brother Jacob, where he left the face of his brother Jacob. He departed. Verse 7. For their riches were more than that they might dwell together. That means they were both had lots of cattle, livestock, or just blessings. And the land wherein they were strangers could not bear them because of their cattle. It wasn't big enough. Verse 8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. Verse 9. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. Verse 10. These are the names of Esau's sons. Eliphaz, the son of Adah, the wife of Esau. Ruel, the son of Bashemath, the wife of Esau. Verse 11. And the sons of Eliphaz were Taman, Omar, Zepho, and Gatam, and Kenaz. Verse 12. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. Verse 13. And these are the sons of Ruel, Nahath, and Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. These were the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. Excuse me. Verse 14. And these were the sons of Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon, Esau's wife. He had a lot of wives. And she bare to Esau Jeush, and Jaalam, and Korah. And of course, having multiple wives was not uncommon in these days. Verse 15. These were dukes of the sons of Esau, or the chiefs of the sons of Esau. The sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau. Duke Taman, Duke Omar, Duke Zepho, Duke Kenaz, or Kenaz. Verse 16. Duke Korah, Duke Gatam, Duke Amalek. These are the dukes that came of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. These were the sons of Adah. Verse 17. And these are the sons of Ruel, Esau's son, Duke Nahath, Duke Zerah, Duke Shammah, Duke Mizah. These are the dukes that came of Ruel in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. Verse 18. And these are the sons of Aholibamah, Esau's wife, Duke Jeush, Duke Jaalam, Duke Korah. These were the dukes that came of Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, Esau's wife. Verse 19. These are the sons of Esau, who is Edom, and these are their dukes. Verse 20. These are the sons of Seir the Horite, who inhabited the land, Lotan, and Shobal, and Zibeon, and Anah. Verse 21. And Dishon, and Ezer, and Dishan. These are the dukes of the Horites, the children of Seir in the land of Edom. Verse 22. And the children of Lotan were Hori and Hemam, and Lotan's sister was Timnah. Verse 23. And the children of Shobal were these: Alvan, and Menahath, and Ebal, Shepho, and Onam. Verse 24. And these are the children of Zibeon, both Ajah and Anah. This was that Anah that found the mules, or the donkeys, in the wilderness as he found. Let me start over in 24, verse 24. And these are the children of Zibeon, both Ajah and Anah. This was that Anah that found the water in the wilderness, or it says mules, but it means water, in the wilderness as he fed the asses or the donkeys of Zibeon his father. Verse 25. And the children of Anah were these: Dishon, and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah. Verse 26. And these are the children of Dishon: Hemdan, and Ishban, and Ithran, and Cheran. Verse 27. The children of Ezar are these: Bilhan, and Zaavan, and Achan. Verse 28. The children of Dishan are these: Uz, Uz, and Aran. Verse 29. And these are the dukes, or the chiefs, that came of the Horites: Duke Lotan, Duke Shobal, Duke Zibeon, Duke Anah. Verse 30. Duke Dishon, Duke Ezer, Duke Dishan. These are the dukes that came of Hori among their dukes in the land of Seir. Verse 31. And these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom, before there reigned any king over the children of Israel. Verse 32. And Bela, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinhabah. Verse 33. And Bela died, and Joab, the son of Zerah of Bozrah, reigned in his stead. Verse 34. And Jobab died, and Husham of the land of Temani reigned in his stead. Verse 35. And Husham died, and Hadad the son of Bedad, who smote the Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his stead. And the name of his city was Avith. or Avith, or Avith. Verse 36. And Hadad died, and Samlah of Masrekah reigned in his stead. Verse 37. And Samlah died, and Saul of Rehoboth by the river reigned in his stead. Verse 38. And Saul died, and Baal-Hanan the son of Achbor reigned in his stead. Verse 39. And Baal-Hanan the son of Achbor died, and Hadar, also pronounced Hadad, reigned in his stead, and the name of his city was Payu, or it's pronounced Pi. And his wife's name was Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. Verse 40. And these are the names of the dukes that came of Esau. Hold on, I gotta take care of this, guys. I'm trying. Welcome. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, verse 39. And Baal-Hanan, the son of Achbor, died, and Hadar, also pronounced Hadad, reigned in his stead, and the name of his city was Pi, and his wife's name was Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. Verse 40. And these are the names of the dukes that came of Esau, or the chiefs that came of Esau, according to their families, after their places, by their names: Duke Timnah, Duke Alvah, Duke Japheth. Verse 41. Duke Aholibamah, Duke Elah, Duke Pinon. Verse 42. This will be the last of the dukes. Verse 43 will. Duke Kenaz, Duke Teman, Duke Mibzar. 43. Duke Magdiel, Duke Aram. These be the dukes of Edom, according to their habitations, or according to their dwelling places, in the land of their possession. He is Esau, the father of the Edomites. All right, we're going to get right into it. Chapter 37, verse 1. And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, or a sojourner, a temporary resident, in the land of Canaan. Canaan being the land of the fallen angels, or the descendants of the fallen angels, the Nephilim. Verse 2. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. Bilhah and Zilpah being the two handmaidens of Leah and Rachel. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report, or he brought a bad report of them to his father. Verse 3. Now Israel loved Joseph more. Remember, Israel is also Jacob. God changed his name from Jacob to Israel. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. And he made him a coat of many colors, or a tunic of many colors. Verse 4. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him, and could not speak peaceably unto him. This made them jealous, obviously. Verse 5. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren. And this dream is going to be coming from God. And they hated him yet the more. Verse 6, what was in it? And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. Verse 7. And remember, this is just a dream that Joseph had that came from God. And so Joseph had nothing to do with it. For behold, verse 7, For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made obeisance to my sheaf, or they bowed down to his sheaf. Now, this dream right here is going to be symbolic of in the future when the famine happens in the land of Egypt, and Joseph, after being sold into bondage by his brethren, God would put him in a position to pretty much Pharaoh gave him reign over all Egypt during this drought. And this dream right here is symbolic of when the drought will happen. Joseph's brethren will go to Joseph and bow down to him, and him being in a position of power. Right here it says that he stood and also stood upright. That'll be him being put in the position of power in Egypt and able to feed them and help them, but they will bow down to Joseph because they'll be so hungry and they want food, and he will have charge over all the grain in Egypt. And that's what this dream is that's what the dream is about what will happen in the future, telling you that the dream came from God. Verse 8, And his brethren said to him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us? Question. Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? Question. And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. They were already jealous of him, and now they don't like what they hear him saying about these dreams. Verse 9, And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, pay attention, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me, or bowed down to me. This is going to be symbolic of the sun is going to be symbolic of Pharaoh, and when Joseph will be sold into bondage and taken to Egypt by the Ishmaelites. The sun is going to be symbolic of Pharaoh, and the moon going to be symbolic of Pharaoh's right-hand man, Potiphar, and these 11 stars are going to be symbolic of Joseph's 11 brothers that will come and bow down to him. And it says the sun and the moon and the 11 stars bow down to him in his dream, and that's because when Joseph goes to Egypt and interprets Pharaoh's dream about the famine, of the 7 years of plenty and then the 7 years of famine, and Pharaoh pretty much makes Joseph king over all of Egypt in his place. And so Pharaoh pretty much did, symbolically bow down, and Potiphar bow down to Joseph in the future. Verse 10, And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him, and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Question. Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth? Question. He's asking him, really? Is this going to happen? Verse 11, And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the saying, meaning Israel, his father, also known as Jacob, or previously known as Jacob, formerly known as Jacob. His father kept in mind what Joseph had said about the dream and didn't just write it off. Verse 12, And his brethren went to feed their father's flocks in Shechem. Verse 13, And Israel said unto Joseph, Do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Question. Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, Here am I. Or Joseph said unto Israel, Here am I. Verse 14. And he said to him, who? Israel said to who? Joseph. Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. So he wants to know what's going on with him. So he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. Verse 15. And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, What seekest thou? Question. Verse 16. And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. Do you know where they're at? Verse 17. And the man said, They are departed hence, for I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan. And this word Dothan meaning two wells. It's approximately 12 miles north of Samaria. And Joseph went after his brethren and found them in Dothan. Verse 18. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. Wickedness coming up in their mind. Verse 19. And they said one to another. We're going to watch how God works in this too and protects his own. And also changes the mind of his own when they decide to do evil, or they consider doing evil. He's always that small voice. Some people call it a conscience. Verse 19. And they said one to another, Behold, this dreamer cometh, or this master of dreams cometh. Verse 20. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit. And we will say, some evil beast or some wild beast had devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. Yeah, well, after he's dead, we'll see about all that dream talk. Verse 21. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands. This is God working. And said, Let us not kill him. Verse 22. And Reuben said unto them, Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, or that he might deliver him out of their hands, to deliver him to his father again. So Reuben's trying to get him to agree to cast Joseph into this pit, into the wilderness, so whenever they leave, he can help Joseph out of the pit and deliver him unto Israel again to safety. And it may not seem fair what's happening to Joseph, and it isn't really, but you got to remember that God's in control, and God has a plan for Joseph and a reason for why this is happening to him. And it's hard to recognize at the time, but in the future it will all make sense down the road. Joseph will come to save all of these people's lives, his brothers. And God will cause Joseph to do that. I mean, Joseph could do anything on his own that God gets the credit, but you understand what I'm saying. Verse 23. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat, or his tunic, his coat of many colors that was on him, that was given to him by his father Israel. Verse 24. And they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty, there was no water in it. Verse 25. This is kind of symbolic of the pit that Satan will be cast into, because there's no living water in it. Verse 25. And they sat down to eat bread, or to eat a meal. And they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels, bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. Verse 26. And Judah said unto his brethren, What profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Question. He's saying, what good is this going to do us? Verse 27. Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And his brethren were content, or so they listened to this idea. They thought this was okay. Verse 28. They just want to get rid of him, frankly. Because they're jealous of him. Verse 28. Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, or they pulled him up out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they brought okay, hold on, I'm making a video. 1 second. Okay. I'll be in there in a little bit, Paul. And sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, the price of a slave at that time. And they brought Joseph into Egypt. By the time of Christ happens, the price of a slave will be up to 30 pieces of silver. Verse 29. And Reuben returned into the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit. And he rent his clothes, or he tore his clothes in grief. He's really upset. Verse 30. And he returned unto his brethren and said, The child is not, or the lad is not. And I, whither shall I go? Question. Verse 31. And they took Joseph's coat, and killed a kid of the goats, and dipped the coat in the blood. They're trying to conspire to make it look like Joseph was dead. Verse 32. And they sent the coat, or the tunic of many colors, and they brought it to their father Israel, and said, This have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no. Do you know whether this is Joseph's coat? They're playing innocent. Of course they're not. Verse 33. And he knew it, or he recognized it, and said, It is my son's coat, or tunic. An evil beast, or a wild beast, hath devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces, or tore in pieces. To Israel, this is evidence that, because he knew that was Joseph's coat, this is evidence that Joseph is dead. Can you imagine how he feels? Verse 34. And Jacob rent, or Jacob being Israel, rent his clothes, or tore his clothes in grief, and put sackcloth upon his loins, and mourned for his son many days. Verse 35. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. He's sick over this. And he said, For I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. Verse 36. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar. This word Potiphar means belonging to the sun. And again, it's Potiphar being representative of the moon in Joseph's dream being representative of Potiphar. Unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's, and captain of the guard, Pharaoh's right-hand man. So the sun being symbolic of Pharaoh, the moon being symbolic of Potiphar in the dream, and the 11 stars being symbolic of his 11 brethren that will eventually come back to Egypt to look for food, and they will find Joseph there in a position to give them food. Okay, that's going to do it for today's Bible study in chapter 37. I love you. Why? Because you love studying God's Word chapter by chapter and verse by verse. More importantly, God loves you for it. That's who you want to please in this life, is God, not man, if you want blessings. I love you guys. Don't miss the next lecture, and don't miss the next lecture.